Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Hub channel. I'm David Miller, your host, and I'm so happy you've joined us again today. And of course, I'm not alone. Sitting right here across from me in sunny Los Angeles, California, is the one and only Jessica Martin. Or should I say Jess?
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Yeah, Jess works too. You always call me that when you're in a good mood, so I guess today is a good day.
It is. It's a beautiful day here in LA. And honestly, I'm excited because today's topic is one that's close to both of our hearts and obviously super important for everyone listening. We're going to talk all about the English language, not just grammar or vocabulary, but really how English lives in our everyday lives, how people learn it, use it, and sometimes even struggle with it.
Exactly. And before we dive in, let me just say, if you're new here, welcome to the English Hub. Our channel is designed to make your English learning simple, practical, and fun. You don't have to treat this like school. In fact, we want you to feel relaxed, maybe even grab a coffee, or just let us play in the background while you're driving or doing your dishes. The idea is that English can slip naturally into your day-to-day life.
Yes, I love that. And you know what, Jess? I think that's the first point worth talking about today. A lot of learners think they need to sit at a desk, open a heavy grammar book, and stare at it for 3 hours in silence. But honestly, that's not how most people succeed. Language is alive. It's meant to be listened to, spoken, played with. Even if you just let us play while you're cooking or commuting, your brain is picking things up.
Totally. I remember when I was learning Spanish in college, I would sometimes just put on Spanish radio or TV shows, even if I didn't understand much at the beginning. But slowly, the rhythm, the sound, the expressions, they became familiar. And that's huge because before you can even speak a language, you have to feel comfortable hearing it.
Exactly. That comfort is like the foundation. And here's something interesting. Scientists actually say that passive listening, like when you're not actively focusing, but the language is just there in the background, it still creates connections in your brain. It's like watering a plant without even noticing. One day you look at it and go, oh wow, it grew.
That's such a David metaphor. But it's true. And honestly, that's why we always remind you guys, don't feel guilty if you're not sitting with a notebook every time. If you're listening to this podcast while you're jogging, folding laundry, or driving to work, you're already doing something powerful for your English.
And maybe laughing with us a little bit too.
Hopefully, because I think that's another important point. When you connect positive emotions with language learning, like fun, laughter, music, storytelling, it sticks better. I mean, think about songs. We've all had that one English song stuck in our heads, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember when Shape of You by Ed Sheeran was everywhere. Even people who didn't speak English at all could sing, I'm in love with the shape of you.
Exactly. And that shows how rhythm and repetition can make learning feel effortless.
So today, Jess, I thought we could do a mix. We'll share some personal stories about learning and teaching English, give some practical advice, maybe bust a few myths, and also talk about how English connects people around the world.
Perfect. And maybe we can challenge our listeners too, give them something fun to write in the comments.
Oh, yes, I love that idea. Stick around until the end because we've got a little challenge for you, and we'll also tell you how you can get a shout out in our next episode.
All right, so let's start with the big question. Why is English so important today? I know it sounds obvious, but it's worth saying out loud.
Good starting point. Okay, so here's the thing. English isn't just another school subject. It's not like math or history where you study, take a test, and then maybe forget half of it later. English is the language of global communication. If you want to travel, work internationally, watch movies without subtitles, or even just connect with people online, chances are you're gonna need English.
Yes, I always tell my students English is kind of like the Wi Fi of communication. It's not the only connection out there, but it's the one most people use to get online with each other.
That's such a perfect analogy. Wi-Fi of communication. I love it. And I think that's why so many people feel motivated, but also pressured. Because on one hand, it's exciting to know English opens doors. But on the other hand, it can feel scary. Like, what if I never sound fluent? What if I make mistakes?
Oh, yeah, mistakes. Let's just pause here for a second because I want to say this loud and clear. Mistakes are part of learning. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. Period. I mean, even little kids learning their first language make mistakes all the time. They say goad instead of went, or mouses instead of mice. And we don't laugh at them, we just correct them gently and keep going.
Exactly. So if you're listening right now and you feel shy about speaking English, remember, every mistake is proof that you're actually using the language, and that's how you grow.
And honestly, David, some mistakes are kind of funny. I've had students accidentally say things that made the whole class laugh. But you know what? Those students always remembered the correction better than anyone else.
Oh, I've got a few stories like that too. Maybe later we should share some funniest mistakes we've ever heard in English.
Oh, yes, that'll be fun. But first, let's talk about how English became this global language in the first place. Because it's not just random, right?
So, Jess, you just mentioned something important, how English became such a global language. Because it didn't just happen, right? There's history, politics, culture, even technology that made English the Wi-Fi of communication, as you beautifully called it earlier.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes assume that English was always this big international thing. But actually, if you look back just a few hundred years, that wasn't the case at all. English was just one language among many, spoken in a small corner of the world.
Exactly. If we rewind to, let's say, the 1600s, England was not the most powerful place in the world. Spanish was huge. French was huge. In fact, for a long time, French was considered the language of diplomacy. If you wanted to be fancy and educated in Europe, you learned French, not English.
And before that, Latin was the big one, right? Scholars, churches, universities, Latin was the universal language. So English really only rose later. And it wasn't because the language itself was better or smarter. It was simply because of history.
Yeah, it's really tied to power and influence. The British Empire expanded around the world in North America, India, Africa, parts of Asia, the Caribbean, and wherever they went, English went too. Sometimes it mixed with local languages, sometimes it was forced on people, sometimes it was adopted because it was useful for trade.
And then came the United States, right? Because if it were just the British Empire, English might still be strong today, but the rise of America in the 20th century, with Hollywood, with music, with technology, with business, that really pushed English to the level it's at now.
Exactly. Think about it. Movies, pop songs, the internet, so much of it came out of the US. And if you wanted to participate in that culture or in the global economy, English became the ticket.
You know, David, when I was traveling in Europe, I noticed something funny. People from two different countries, like Germany and Spain, would often speak to each other in English, even though neither of them was a native speaker.
Oh, I've seen that too. That's when you realize English isn't just America's language or Britain's language, it's this shared tool. And sometimes, honestly, non-native speakers use it even more than native speakers.
Absolutely, and I think that's encouraging because it means you don't have to sound perfectly British or perfectly American to be understood. You just need to communicate clearly. That's the point of a global language. It belongs to everyone who uses it.
Yes, and that's a huge mental shift for learners. You don't need to chase an accent or stress over every tiny grammar detail. English isn't just about correctness, it's about connection.
Let me tell you a quick story about that. I had a student once, a woman from Brazil. She spoke with a very strong accent, and at first she felt embarrassed. But one day she told me, Jessica, when I speak English with my Brazilian accent, I'm not broken, I'm bilingual. And I thought, wow, that's powerful.
That's beautiful. And it's true. Your accent is not a mistake, it's a story. It tells people where you're from, it adds richness, and honestly, if you've ever been in an international setting, accents are normal. Everyone has one. Even me and Jess, right? We both sound different, and we're both native speakers.
Yeah, you've got your very David radio voice, and I've got my softer California tone, and we don't apologize for it. So why should learners?
Exactly. So let's put it this way. English today is kind of like a big festival. You've got people from all over the world coming together, each bringing their own food, their own music, their own style, and somehow it all mixes, and that's what makes it exciting.
Ooh, that's such a good image. And it explains why there are so many variations of English, too. British, American, Australian, Indian, Nigerian, Singaporean. None of them are wrong. They're just different flavors of the same dish.
And learners sometimes ask me, David, which one should I learn? And I always say, start with the one you're most exposed to. If you watch a lot of American shows, then naturally you'll pick up American English. If you study in the UK, you'll probably lean British. But don't stress too much. What matters is that people understand you and you feel confident using it.
Yes, and remember, your English will evolve. At the beginning, you might copy your teacher's accent. Later, maybe you'll mix it, and that's fine. Actually, it's natural.
Speaking of evolving, let's talk a little bit about how English itself keeps changing. Because it's not frozen. I mean, if Shakespeare suddenly came back today, he'd probably need subtitles to understand us.
Totally. Old English, Middle English, Modern English, it's changed so much, and it keeps changing. Words come and go, slang evolves, even grammar shifts over time.
Yeah, think about internet language. 20 years ago, nobody said Google it, or selfie, or hashtag. But now those are normal words. English grows with culture and technology.
And you know what's funny is sometimes learners worry about sounding outdated, but even native speakers can sound outdated if they don't keep up. Like if I suddenly said groovy to describe something cool, you'd probably laugh at me.
I would. And yet 50 years ago, that was the word. So the lesson here is don't try to memorize English as if it's fixed. Treat it as a living, breathing thing. Stay curious, keep listening, and you'll stay updated naturally.
That's such a good point, and it takes the pressure off, too. You don't need to know everything about English. You just need to keep engaging with it, and you'll adapt as it changes.
That's so true. And by the way, this is one reason why podcasts like ours are so useful, because you're not just learning old textbook examples like the cat is on the table. You're hearing real, current conversational English.
Yeah, if your cat is actually on the table, that's a problem, but you get the idea.
All right, Jess, let's do this. How about we share with our listeners a couple of personal stories from when we were learning another language and how it connects to learning English today?
Ooh, good idea. Okay, so my story goes back to when I was trying to learn Italian. I went to Italy for a summer program, and the first week I was so shy, I barely spoke. I thought everyone would laugh at my mistakes. But then one night I went out with some Italian classmates, and I gave up on being perfect. I made a ton of mistakes, but we laughed, they helped me, and suddenly I realized communication is more important than perfection. That night changed my whole mindset.
That's amazing. And honestly, I've had a similar moment with French. I was in Paris trying to buy bread at a bakery. I mixed up the word for pawn, like pawn, bread, and pan, like a pan. The woman looked confused, then started laughing, and finally corrected me. And guess what? I never forgot the word after that. Mistakes teach better than any grammar book sometimes.
Yes, and that's what we want to tell you, dear listeners. Don't be afraid of those little moments. They're golden. They're the times you grow.
And sometimes they even give you a good story to tell later.
Exactly.
All right, Jess, we've been talking about history and how English became this global festival of accents, words, and cultures. But now let's switch gears a bit. Our listeners aren't just here for history lessons, right? They want to know, how can I actually get better at English every day?
Exactly, because history is interesting, but at the end of the day, you've got bills to pay, jobs to apply for, trips to take, and you need practical English for all of that. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. Listening, speaking, reading, writing, and how to build habits that don't feel like torture.
Yeah, nobody wants English to feel like homework forever. It should feel like part of your life, like brushing your teeth. You don't question it, you just do it.
Okay, let's start with listening, because I always tell my students, listening is the foundation. You can't speak well if you don't listen well.
Yes, yes, yes. And the funny thing is, listening practice is probably the easiest thing to add to your life. You don't even need to sit at a desk. You can just exist, walk, cook, do laundry, and have English in your ears.
And that's where podcasts like ours come in. Shameless plug, but seriously, when you listen regularly, you start to absorb rhythm, intonation, vocabulary, even grammar without memorizing charts.
Exactly. I always compare it to music. You don't learn a song by studying sheet music first. You listen to it over and over until you can hum along, right? Same with language.
Oh, that's such a good analogy. And you know what's important? Not overthinking. People sometimes get frustrated. I don't understand every word. And I tell them, you don't need to. Focus on the big picture. If you get 60–70% at first, that's a win.
Totally. Like when I watch a French movie, I don't panic if I miss a few words. I just stay with the flow. And funny enough, the more you listen, the more those missing pieces fill in automatically.
Yes. And let's be real, even in your native language, you don't always hear every single word. You guess from context. You're tired, you're distracted, but you still get the meaning. That's human communication.
Exactly. So here's a tip for our listeners. Try what I call the double mode listening. First, listen once just to enjoy, don't pause. Then listen again, maybe with subtitles if it's a video, or check a transcript if available. That way you get both the real experience and the study session in one.
That's great advice. And here's another one. Mix passive and active listening. Passive is when English is in the background while you drive or clean. Active is when you sit down, take notes, repeat phrases. Both are important, but passive listening is how you build hours of exposure without stress.
Yes, and the background listening is huge. I tell my students, even if you're busy, just let English play in the background. Your brain will pick up rhythm and patterns even if you're not 100% focused. It's like soaking in the sound.
Okay, now let's move to speaking. This is the scary one for most people.
Oh yeah, people freeze. They're like, but what if I make mistakes? What if I sound silly?
And my answer is always, you will make mistakes. You will sound silly sometimes. And that's exactly how you improve.
Yes, mistakes are proof you're trying. No mistakes, no progress. Simple as that.
And you don't even need a native speaker partner right away. You can practice speaking to yourself. Seriously, describe what you're doing. Now I'm making coffee. Now I'm opening the window. It feels silly, but it trains your mouth, your brain, your rhythm.
I love that. I used to do that when I was learning Spanish. I'd walk around like a crazy person talking to myself.
Yes, and here's another technique, shadowing. You listen to a phrase from a podcast, movie, YouTube, and then repeat it immediately, trying to match the tone and speed. It's like karaoke, but with language.
Oh yeah, shadowing is powerful. You start to copy not just words, but the music of English. And honestly, that's what makes you sound natural.
Exactly. People always ask, how do I get better pronunciation? The answer isn't learning phonetic symbols. It's listening and copying. Babies do it. Adults can too.
All right, let's touch on reading. Some readers think reading is boring or too slow, but it doesn't have to be.
Totally. The key is to read what you actually like. If you're into sports, read sports news. If you love cooking, read recipes. If you're into drama, read novels. Reading should feel like feeding your curiosity, not punishment.
Exactly. I once had a student who hated textbooks but loved Harry Potter. Guess what? She read all the Harry Potter books in English with a dictionary by her side. By the end, her vocabulary was amazing.
And the cool part is, reading builds vocabulary differently from listening. When you read, you notice spelling, structure, longer sentences. It balances your skills.
Yes, and one practical tip is don't look up every single word. Choose your battles. If a word repeats 5 times, look it up. If it's just once and you understand the general idea, skip it.
That's golden. Otherwise, you'll kill the joy of reading. And joy is what keeps you going long term.
Now, writing. People often underestimate writing. They think, I don't need it, I just want to speak. But writing is actually a powerful practice tool.
Yes. When you write, you slow down. You have time to think about vocabulary, grammar, structure. It's like training your brain at the gym.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be essays. Start small. Write a daily journal in English, a few sentences about your day, or post on social media in English. That's real writing, too.
Oh, and here's a fun one. Texting yourself in English, or even changing your phone language to English. Suddenly, you're writing all day without realizing it.
Oh, love it. That's how I learned some tech words in French. My phone was in French, so every button was practice.
So, listeners, here's the big picture. Mix all 4. Listening, speaking, reading, writing. Don't focus only on one. Together, they make you balanced.
Exactly. If you only listen, you'll understand but struggle to speak. If you only speak, you'll lack vocabulary. If you only read, you'll sound like a textbook. If you only write, you'll be slow, but balance them, and you'll grow naturally.
Now, let's talk about everyday practice, because the hardest part isn't knowing what to do, it's actually doing it every day.
Right. Consistency beats intensity. 10 minutes every day is better than 3 hours once a week.
Exactly. And to make it stick, you need routines. Connect English to things you already do, like coffee time, listen to a podcast, gym time, watch a YouTube video, before bed, read 2 pages of a book.
Yes, habit stacking, pair English with an existing habit. That way it becomes automatic.
And don't forget fun. If English always feels like a chore, you'll quit. Mix in music, movies, jokes, memes. English should also be play.
Absolutely. And hey, maybe we should give our listeners a little challenge here.
Ooh, yes. Challenges are great for motivation.
All right, so here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, choose one small daily habit in English. Just one. For example, listen to 5 minutes of English every morning or write 3 sentences every night. Do it for 7 days straight.
And then tell us in the comments what your habit was and how it went. We'll pick one comment that really inspires us and give that person a special shout out in our next episode.
Yes, a little community fun. And hey, if you're shy, don't worry about writing perfect English in your comment. We'll appreciate the effort, not the grammar.
Exactly. Mistakes welcome. This is about practice, not perfection.
Jess, you know what I think we should talk about now? The fun side of learning English. Because let's be honest, mistakes happen, misunderstandings happen, and sometimes they're just downright hilarious.
Oh, yes. And you know what? We always tell our students, don't be afraid of mistakes, but we don't say enough how entertaining they can be. Some of my favorite teaching memories are just from funny mix-ups.
Same here. Like one time I had a student from Japan, and he wanted to say, I like to cook, but instead he said, I like to cock. And I was like, oh boy, careful with that vowel, my friend.
Oh, classic, the short vowel versus long vowel problem. That one gets people into trouble all the time. I had a Brazilian student once who wanted to say, I live in a big city, but she said, I live in a big shitty, and everyone in class lost it.
That's gold. See, those are the kinds of mistakes you actually never forget. Once you say it wrong in a funny way, you will never say it wrong again.
Exactly. Humor's like a natural memory trick. You laugh, you feel embarrassed, you never repeat the same mistake. It's like your brain locks it in forever.
And you know what? These mistakes aren't just pronunciation. Sometimes it's grammar. Like when people confuse past and present, I had one student who meant to say, I studied engineering, but he said, I study engineering in 1998.
Oh my gosh, yes. Tense confusion is so common. Or prepositions. Oh, the prepositions. I remember one student wrote, I'm married with 3 children. And I was like, wait, you're married with your children?
Yeah, in English, we say married with children only if we're talking about that old TV sitcom.
Exactly. It should be married and have 3 children. But hey, it's an honest mistake, and honestly, I think English prepositions are evil sometimes.
Oh, totally, because they don't follow logic. Like, why do we say on the bus, but in the car?
Yes, and at night, but in the morning. It's like English just wants to keep students on their toes.
You know, this brings us to one of the biggest struggles learners face. They want rules, but English is full of exceptions.
Absolutely. And sometimes the only way to deal with it is to accept the chaos and laugh about it. Like, think of spelling. You tell students, sound it out, and then they see words like night or psychology.
Right, and don't get me started on through, though, tough, and thought. 4 words, 4 different sounds, 0 mercy.
Yes, I once told my class, English spelling is like your drunk uncle at a wedding. He tries to follow the music, but half the time he's just doing his own dance.
That is the best description I've ever heard. English spelling, the drunk uncle of languages.
But see, these struggles aren't just about grammar or pronunciation. They're also cultural. Like, learners often feel lost with idioms.
Yes, idioms are wild because they make 0 sense literally. Imagine being new to English and hearing someone say, it's raining cats and dogs. You'd be like, what?
Exactly. Or kick the bucket. Like, why is dying connected to buckets? Who came up with that?
I know, right? And the funny thing is, native speakers don't even question it. We just use it. But for learners, it's like entering an inside joke they weren't invited to.
And sometimes the cultural references make it even worse. Like, someone says, oh, this is my Achilles heel. And the learner is like, wait, who is Achilles? Why does he have a heel problem?
Yeah, you almost need a mix of history, mythology, and pop culture knowledge just to keep up with English idioms.
You do, and I think this is where cultural immersion helps. Watching movies, TV shows, memes, all of that is part of learning English because language is culture.
Exactly. Like if you watch Friends, you'll suddenly understand so many American jokes and expressions that don't appear in textbooks.
Yes, or if you watch British shows like The Office, you'll see another side of humor. Sarcasm, understatement, dry jokes. It's all culture in action.
And culture even explains why certain mistakes are funny. Like, for example, in America, if someone confuses beach with bitch, people will laugh, not because they want to be mean, but because it's just such a classic mix-up.
Right. And honestly, I think sometimes learners are too hard on themselves. They think, oh no, I embarrassed myself. But really, most native speakers find it endearing. They're like, oh, you're trying. That's cool.
Yes, it shows courage. And you know what? Many times, native speakers secretly wish they had the guts to learn another language. So when they hear you trying, they admire you, even if they laugh a little.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, I've made so many ridiculous mistakes in other languages myself. Like when I was learning Italian, I wanted to say, I'm hot. But instead, I said, I'm horny.
No way, Jess.
Yes way. The waiter's face was priceless, and I learned instantly that caldo is hot, but acitata is a whole other thing.
Oh my God, that's perfect. See, and you survived, you laughed, you learned, and you never made the mistake again.
Exactly. And that's what we want our listeners to know. Don't fear mistakes. Embrace them. Sometimes they give you the best stories.
Yes, in fact, we should encourage people to share their funniest English mistakes in the comments.
Oh my gosh, yes, that would be amazing. Listeners, if you've ever had a funny or awkward English mistake, drop it in the comments. We'll read some of them in a future episode.
Yes, and we'll give a big shout out to the one that makes us laugh the hardest.
Perfect. So yeah, mistakes, struggles, idioms, culture, it's all part of the beautiful chaos of English.
Beautiful chaos. I like that. All right, Jess, so we've laughed about mistakes, we've cried over prepositions, but I think now it's time to talk about one of my favorite things about English, accents and dialects.
Oh, yes, that's a huge one. Because let's be real, English is not just one language. It's this giant global family of variations, and each one has its own personality.
Exactly. Like, if you grow up in Los Angeles like us, you think, this is English. But then you travel to Scotland and suddenly you're like, wait, are we even speaking the same language?
Yes! I remember when I first visited Glasgow. I swear, the first few hours I just nodded politely at everything people said because I had no idea what was happening. It was English, but not the English I knew.
Right? I had the same thing in Liverpool. People were friendly, but I was like, did they just say chicken or kitchen? I don't know, but I'll just smile.
That's the beauty of accents. They shape the rhythm, the sound, even the feeling of a language. And it's not just UK vs US. I mean, think of India, Nigeria, Singapore. Each place puts its own stamp on English.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's cool? Sometimes learners think, I have to speak like an American or British person. But actually, English doesn't belong to one country. It's like a passport language. Everybody adds to it.
Yes. And that's why I always tell my students, your accent is not a mistake. It's your identity. As long as people understand you, you're fine. You don't have to erase where you come from.
Totally agree. I mean, even within the U.S., we have so many accents. A Texan sounds different from a New Yorker. A Boston accent can sound almost like another language.
Oh, don't get me started on Boston. Park the car and have it yard.
That was good. And then you've got the Southern drawl. Y'all come back now, you hear? So smooth, so musical.
Exactly. And then you go to New York and it's like, bam, fast, direct, cut the endings. I'm walking here.
Oh, yeah, classic. And see, learners sometimes panic. Which accent should I learn? And I always tell them, focus on understanding different accents first, because you're going to encounter all of them.
Yes, comprehension is key. Like if you can watch a movie in British English, listen to a podcast in American English, and chat with a friend from India, you're basically invincible.
Exactly. And let's not forget Australia, because Australian English is like fun chaos. They shorten every word. Breakfast, brekkie. Sunglasses, sunnies. McDonald's, Maccas.
Yes, and they have that rising intonation that makes everything sound like a question. G'day, mate, how you going?
Perfect impression, Jess. And you know, I think that's what makes English so fascinating. It's not static. It keeps evolving depending on where you go.
Exactly. And even inside one country, accents tell you so much about people, their region, sometimes even their social background. Like in the UK, accent can be a class marker.
True. In America, it's more about geography. In the UK, it can also be tied to class or tradition. And in places like Africa or Asia, English often mixes with local languages, creating something entirely new.
Yes, like Singlish in Singapore. It's English but with local grammar and expressions. For example, they'll say can or not instead of is it possible? And it's just as clear if you're used to it.
Or in India, phrases like do the needful or kindly revert. Perfectly normal there, but in American English, they sound unusual.
That's what I love about global English. It shows how creative people can be. They bend it, twist it, adapt it to their culture, and it still works.
Totally. And honestly, sometimes learners worry too much about correctness. But what does correct even mean? Shakespeare's English sounded nothing like ours today.
Right? And people back then thought his English was weird. So imagine, in 200 years, people might laugh at how we speak now.
Yeah, maybe they'll say, can you believe in 2025 people still said literally all the time, even when they didn't mean literally?
Oh yes, that drives learners crazy. Literally means the opposite half the time.
Exactly. So my point is, English is alive. It's not a museum piece. And accents, dialects, even slang, they're all proof of that.
I agree. And maybe that's the best advice we can give our listeners. don't try to chase one perfect version of English. Instead, learn to enjoy the variety.
Yes, listen to accents, mimic them for fun, laugh at the differences, and just embrace the diversity.
That's how you really connect with people.
And let's be honest, trying accents can be fun, even if you're not good at it.
I always encourage students to play around with sounds.
Exactly. Play is the key word, because language is not just about rules, it's about connection, identity, and sometimes comedy.
Absolutely. And I think that's why people love English. It's messy, it's flexible, and it belongs to everyone.
Well said, Jess. It belongs to everyone. Okay, Jess, now that we've traveled the world through accents and dialects, I think it's time we step into the present, the digital world. Because honestly, the internet is rewriting English every single day.
Oh, completely. I mean, if Shakespeare was alive today, he wouldn't be writing plays. He'd probably be on TikTok making memes.
Can you imagine? To be or not to be, and then it cuts to a cat video.
Exactly. But that's what's so fascinating. The way social media and the internet have become like laboratories for new words, new grammar, even new ways of communicating.
Yes. I mean, think about it. 10 years ago, no one was saying ghosting, doom scrolling, or even hashtag. And now these words are part of daily English.
Right. And memes. Memes are like the modern day hieroglyphics. A picture of a dog with bad grammar, such wow, very English, and suddenly everyone in the world knows what it means.
Oh, yeah, Doge. That's like a piece of internet history now. And then you've got yeet, slay, riz. Honestly, half the time I feel like I need a translator for Gen Z.
Same here. I teach English and my students sometimes use words I've never heard of. And they're like, "Come on, Jess, it's obvious." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm too old for this slang."
Don't worry, Jess, you're not alone. I had a moment last week where someone said, "That's a whole mood." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like the room's emotional atmosphere?"
That's so good. But see, that's the point. Online slang changes the rules. It doesn't have to make sense in a textbook. It just has to feel right in the moment.
Exactly. And I think learners need to understand that internet English is kind of like its own language. It's casual, it's playful, and it breaks rules all the time.
Yes, like no punctuation, all lowercase, or replacing words with emojis. I can't believe this happened. Crying emoji, fire emoji, clap emoji. And somehow everybody gets it.
Totally. And emojis are basically a universal supplement to English now. Sometimes one emoji says more than a whole paragraph.
Yep. And don't forget GIFs. Like, instead of writing, "I'm happy," you just send a dancing baby Yoda. That's English 2025.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. Learners often ask me, should I learn internet slang? And my answer is yes, but with a warning.
Right, because slang can make you sound natural and modern, but if you use it in the wrong context, it can be awkward.
Exactly. Like, don't say bruh to your boss in an email.
Please don't. Or YOLO in a job interview. Why do you want this job? Well, YOLO.
Oh, that would be epic. But yeah, context is everything. With friends online, use slang. In school, in work, maybe tone it down.
Yes, but honestly, even formal English is changing because of the internet. People are writing shorter sentences, using simpler words, even in business emails.
That's true. The internet has trained us all to be fast and clear. Nobody wants to read a giant wall of text anymore.
Exactly. That's why tweets, captions, even YouTube comments are shaping the way English looks. It's about being quick, funny, and memorable.
And memes are a huge part of that. They spread phrases faster than anything. Think about "Okay, Boomer." That started as a meme, and suddenly it was on T-shirts, in songs, everywhere.
Yes, or Netflix and chill. That one completely changed its meaning because of the internet. At first, it sounded innocent. Now, not so much.
Exactly. And here's something cool for learners. Memes and online slang can actually be a great tool for practicing English.
Oh, yes, I always recommend that. Scroll through Instagram or TikTok, look at the captions, try to copy the style, even make your own memes. It forces you to think in short, clever English.
And it keeps you up to date, because honestly, if you only learn from textbooks, you're going to sound like you stepped out of the 1980s.
True. Imagine someone saying, "Excuse me, would you accompany me to the discotheque?" instead of, "Want to go out tonight?"
Oh, that's gold. But yeah, English is alive online, and the best way to learn it is to join the conversation. Comment on videos, chat with people, post memes. It's all practice.
Exactly. And let's not forget online learning itself. Apps, YouTube channels, podcasts like this one, they make English so much more accessible than ever before.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal. 20 years ago, you had to buy expensive books or classes. Now you can learn English from your phone while waiting in line for coffee.
Yes, and that's what makes practice more natural. You don't need to set aside 3 hours every day. You can just sprinkle English throughout your daily life with online content.
And that's where things like background listening come in. Just put on a podcast, maybe hours, while you're cooking, driving, or scrolling. You don't need to focus 100% to benefit.
Exactly. The more you hear English, the more it sinks into your brain without effort. That's why I tell students, don't overthink it. Just keep the language around you.
And that's really the magic of English in the digital age. It's everywhere, it's playful, and you can be part of it anytime, anywhere.
Yes, social media, memes, online classes, slang, they're not distractions, they're opportunities. If you use them wisely, you can turn every scroll into practice.
Boom, well said. Every scroll is practice. All right, Jess, so we've talked about the past, the present, and all the memes in between, but I think it's time to pull out the crystal ball and look into the future of English. Where is this language heading?
Oh, yes, the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's fascinating because English has always been changing. But now with technology, AI, social media, global communication, it feels like it's changing faster than ever.
Absolutely. Like 10 years ago, we didn't have ChatGPT writing essays for people.
True, students back then had to suffer through their own grammar mistakes. Now they just type a question and boom, perfect essay. Well, almost perfect.
Yeah, sometimes those AI texts still sound like they were written by a polite alien.
Exactly. Dear human, I hope this message finds you well.
That's it. But that's the point. AI is already changing the way people write and even how they learn English.
Yes, and not just AI. Think about translation tools. 20 years ago, if you wanted to understand another language, you needed a dictionary. Now you can point your phone at a menu in Japan, and it instantly shows you English.
It's insane. Which raises the big question. Will people still need to learn English in the future, or will technology just translate everything for us?
Ooh, big question. Honestly, I think yes, people will still need English. Because translation can give you the meaning, but not the connection.
Ah, well, I love that. Yeah, because if you're in a business meeting or flirting with someone at a bar, you don't want to pull out Google Translate every 2 seconds.
Exactly. Hang on, let me type what I want to say. That kills the vibe.
Totally. So I think English will remain the global bridge language, but I also think it will evolve into different directions at the same time.
Yes, and we already see global English, right? People all over the world using English, but in their own way, with their own accent, their own cultural flavor.
Exactly. Indian English, Nigerian English, Singaporean English, they're not wrong, they're just different. And in the future, I think these versions will become even stronger.
I agree, and maybe we'll have a situation where there isn't just one English, but many Englishes, like a network of languages connected by the same core, but with unique identities.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And here's another thought. What about English and emojis? Like, what if writing in the future is half words, half symbols?
Oh, I can totally see that happening. We already do it. Think about texting.
can we pizza tonight? That's basically part English, part picture language.
Yeah, and memes too. They're like little compressed stories, one image, and people instantly know the whole context.
Right, which makes me wonder, will future English learners need to study memes the way we studied Shakespeare?
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? All right, class, today we'll analyze the philosophical depth of the SpongeBob meme.
Notice how SpongeBob represents existential dread in the digital era.
Oh my gosh, but seriously, memes could be like folklore for the future. The culture, the jokes, the struggles, all captured in tiny internet artifacts.
Yes, and AI might push this even further. Imagine real-time AI tutors that follow you around on your phone, correcting your grammar in conversation.
That's scary and cool at the same time, like a little angel or devil on your shoulder. Excuse me, that's the past perfect tense, not past simple.
Oh no, but you're right. We're moving toward a world where English is not just taught in classrooms, but woven into daily life through technology.
Exactly. And you know what? That makes me think, in the future, maybe the line between native speaker and learner will blur, because with tech help, everyone can communicate smoothly.
That's a powerful idea. Like, English will less be about being perfect and more about just connecting.
Yes, and maybe accents won't matter as much, grammar won't matter as much. As long as you're clear, people will understand you.
I hope so, because honestly, English is already messy. It steals words from everywhere, it breaks its own rules, and that's what makes it alive.
Exactly. English is a thief and a rebel. It borrows from French, German, Latin, Hindi, Japanese, you name it.
Yes, and that's why it adapts so well. In the future, I think English will keep borrowing and evolving with every culture it touches.
And that's why I don't think English is going away anytime soon. Even with AI, even with translators, it's still going to be the language that connects billions of people.
Yes, the future of English is not about perfection. It's about flexibility, creativity, and global connection.
Boom. Well said, Jess. So the future is memes, emojis, AI, and people all over the world making English their own.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, I can't wait to see what the next generation does with it.
Me too. Maybe they'll invent new slang we can't even imagine. Or maybe we'll all be speaking in memes by 2050.
Whatever happens, one thing is clear, English will keep surprising us.
All right, Jess, let's get a little practical now. We've been talking about history, accents, the future of English, all that big stuff. But let's be honest, most people listening right now are probably thinking, okay, guys, but how do I actually use English in real life without freezing up?
Exactly. That's where emotions kick in. We can teach grammar all day. We can talk about vocabulary lists. But when you're standing in front of a waiter in New York or London, suddenly your brain just stops working.
Oh, I've been there. When I first traveled to France, I thought I had all the French I needed. I practiced the words for chicken and water like a million times. Then the waiter came, looked me straight in the eyes, and said something super fast. And guess what? My brain completely shut down.
And that's the emotional part. Fear, embarrassment, pressure. It's not about vocabulary, it's about confidence. English learners feel exactly the same. They may know the word, but emotions block them.
So let's give a couple of scenarios. Imagine you're in a restaurant in Los Angeles. You want to order a burger. Simple, right? But your hands are sweating, you don't want to make a mistake, you think the waiter will laugh.
Yeah, and the trick here is, first, don't try to make the sentence perfect. Just say, 1 burger, please. Done. Short, clear. You'll sound confident and the waiter will love you for being direct.
Exactly. People sometimes feel they need a whole Shakespeare speech. Like, excuse me, dear sir, could I possibly request one of your delicious burgers?
That's nice, but unnecessary. Keep it short. Confidence comes from clarity, not complexity.
Another real-life situation. Job interviews. Scary, right? Your emotions are like a roller coaster. You want to sound smart, but you're worried about mistakes.
Yes, and here's the truth. Nobody cares about your accent or little grammar errors. What interviewers want is energy, positivity, and clear answers. I always tell learners, practice short, powerful phrases like, I enjoy learning, I'm motivated, I work well with others. Those are safe and effective.
And smile. Smiling is a universal language. Even if your words aren't perfect, your emotion, your warmth, communicates more than vocabulary ever could. Totally. Okay, here's another one. Traveling. You land in a new country, maybe the UK, you need to ask for directions. Fear kicks in. You think, oh no, what if I don't understand their answer?
Here's a trick. Don't panic if you don't understand everything. You can always use body language or ask them to repeat slowly. Sorry, could you say that again, slowly? People will respect you for trying.
Yes, and sometimes they'll even switch to easier words for you. The emotion you need here is courage, not perfection.
Exactly. And let's not forget meeting new people. This is where shyness is the biggest enemy. You're at a party, you hear people speaking English, you want to join, but your inner voice says, don't, you'll look stupid.
Here's the secret. Most native speakers love when someone tries to join in, even with simple English. Just walk up and say, "Hi, I'm learning English. Can I join?" Believe me, that's not weird. That's brave.
And brave is attractive. People will admire your courage. Emotions can either hold you back, or if you flip them, they can become your superpower. Nervousness can turn into excitement. Fear can turn into energy.
Yes. In fact, Jess, I'd say English is not just about grammar and words. It's about managing your emotions. If you can manage your feelings in real-life situations, your English will improve faster than any textbook can teach you.
Beautifully said. So, to everyone listening, don't fight your emotions. Accept them, laugh at them, use them. And remember, even native speakers make mistakes, stutter, or forget words. You're not alone.
Exactly. And maybe next time we can share our own embarrassing mistakes in English and other languages so our listeners don't feel so alone.
Good idea. Maybe we really will.
Okay, Jess, now we're getting into the fun zone. Movies, music, pop culture. This is where English becomes not just a language, but a lifestyle.
Yes, I love this part because, let's be honest, most of us didn't fall in love with English through grammar books. We fell in love through movies, songs, and TV shows.
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I learned half my English slang from Friends. I remember watching Joey say, "How you doing?" and thinking, okay, that's how Americans talk, I'm gonna use it. Spoiler, it doesn't work outside of sitcoms.
Oh no, David, please tell me you didn't actually try that line.
I did, in college. I walked up to someone and said, "How you doing?" with my best Joey face. They just looked at me like I was an alien. That's when I realized TV English and real-life English are not always the same.
Exactly. And that's the funny thing. Movies and shows give you this amazing vocabulary, but sometimes it's exaggerated, like superhero movies. Nobody in real life says, "We must save humanity from impending doom."
Right. But still, pop culture is powerful because even if it's not always realistic, it gives learners rhythm. It gives them the sound of English, the music of it.
Yes, and songs are magical for that. You know, when I was teaching beginners, they would remember phrases from the Beatles better than from textbooks, like "let it be." 3 simple words, but so emotional, so memorable.
Absolutely. Music sticks in your brain. I'll tell you something embarrassing. I learned the word umbrella because of Rihanna. Before that song, I never thought about it. But now, every time it rains, I hear her singing, "Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella," and I can't get it out of my head.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And you know what? That's the beauty of pop culture English. It sneaks into your memory. You don't even try. You just sing along, and suddenly you know words.
Exactly, and movies do the same. How many people around the world know phrases like, "May the Force be with you" from Star Wars, or "I'll be back" from Terminator? Those are cultural passwords.
That's a great way to put it. Cultural passwords. You say, I'll be back with the Arnold accent, and instantly everybody laughs, no matter their English level. That's powerful.
Yes, and learners can use that. They can quote movies, use lines from songs, and suddenly they feel connected to millions of English speakers.
But here's the warning. Don't use everything you hear. Like, if you learn English from gangster movies, please don't walk around saying, yo, what's up, fool?
Yeah, unless you want some real trouble. Or if you only watch medieval shows like Game of Thrones, you'll end up saying, "My lady, winter is coming." That's not going to help you at Starbucks.
Can you imagine ordering coffee with "Winter is coming, and so is my latte"?
That would be epic. But seriously, here's the key. Movies and songs are great teachers, but you need to notice the difference between dramatic English and everyday English.
Yes, but even the dramatic stuff can be useful. For example, learning from Marvel movies, you get humor, sarcasm, fast dialogue. That's real American culture.
And songs are perfect for pronunciation. You know how many students improve their R sound just by singing along with Adele or Ed Sheeran? Way better than repeating after a teacher.
Totally. And I'd say don't just listen. Watch with subtitles. First in your own language, then in English. You'll be shocked how much you pick up.
Yes, I love that method. I even recommend learners watch the same movie twice. First for fun, second for study. Write down funny phrases, practice them. You'll start sounding natural.
And here's another tip. Karaoke. It's not just fun, it's language practice. Sing in English, and suddenly your pronunciation muscles wake up.
I've done karaoke in Japan, Jess, and trust me, singing Bohemian Rhapsody at 2 a.m. is the best English lesson you'll ever get.
Oh my God, I need to see that one day. But yes, pop culture is like a free English school. It's everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, Spotify. You just need to dive in.
Exactly. And to our listeners, don't feel guilty about binge watching a series or replaying your favorite song. That's not wasting time. That's learning English the fun way.
Amen. And sometimes fun learning is the most effective because when you laugh, when you sing, when you enjoy yourself, you remember better.
That's so true. Honestly, Jess, I think the best English teachers in the world are probably Netflix and Beyoncé.
I can't argue with that. So guys, if you want to improve your English, don't only study books. Watch, listen, laugh, sing. Pop culture is your classroom. You know, David, before we move on, I think it's time to remind our listeners about something special we do on this channel.
Ah, yes. The challenge. Guys, if you're new here, you should know that every podcast, well, okay, maybe not every single one, but almost every other one, we throw in a little challenge for you. It's our way of making this podcast not just something you listen to, but something you take part in.
Exactly, because we don't just want you to sit there and think, oh, that was nice. We want you to do something, to join the fun, to be a part of the conversation.
So here's today's challenge. Are you ready? It's a simple one, but trust me, it's a good one.
Today's challenge is write in the comments the most difficult word you've heard in this episode.
It can be any word. Maybe something from the history of English we talked about earlier, maybe from the songs or movies we mentioned, or maybe just a random tricky word that caught your ear.
Yes, and don't be shy. It doesn't matter if the word seems small or huge, funny or serious. Just type it down in the comments.
Because here's the fun part. We do read the comments, every single one. And in the next episode, we'll pick one or maybe a few, and we'll actually say hello to the people who wrote them.
Imagine listening next time and suddenly hearing your name. That's pretty cool, right?
Super cool.
So go ahead, write your most difficult word from today's podcast in the comments. Who knows? Maybe in the next episode you'll hear us say, "Hi, John from Brazil," or "Hello, Anna from Poland."
Or maybe big shout out to Ahmed from Egypt who chose the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh yes, that would be epic. Okay, guys, that's today's challenge. Don't miss it.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this important discussion about the English language. We hope it was helpful.
And before we go, we have one final request for you, and it's a phrase you've probably never heard before on a streaming platform.
Oh, I know where this is going.
That's right. If you want more from us, you have to subscribe to the channel.
Groundbreaking, I know. But seriously, if you want more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
And we want to hear from you. We would love to know what topic you would like us to discuss next time, so write us a comment below. Who knows, maybe we will choose yours.
That's right. Your idea could be our next episode. And finally, if you liked and enjoyed this podcast as much as we did, please hit that like button. It helps us out and keeps us motivated to continue making great content for you.
So, for David and myself, thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you all next time on the English Hub channel.